The recipe I'm about to make is something that I haven't made for a very long time, and it comes out of my Milk Street cookbook, specifically the Mediterranean one. And the inspiration behind this recipe actually comes from something out of Jacques Pepin's repertoire. And as a child, watching him on TV with his own TV show on PBS, and then also cooking side by side with Julia Child, I enjoy the things that he does. He uses very simple ingredients, doesn't overcomplicate things, and everything turns out in a way perfect because he's French. But I'm over, I'm over. What would you want to say? Giving him too much praise in many cases. But there's no doubt about it. Jacques Pepin is a very good chef. He is very good at what he did, and still he cooks today, and he's very good at that. So this is a warm rice and tuna salad. It's got capers, it's got tomatoes, it's made with a vinaigrette. All things said and done from start to finish, this should only take 30 minutes. So I've got a cup of rice that I have rinsed and washed in my sink. I like this little strainer that I have here. This is specifically made for rice, but I use it also for other things as well too. There are slots in the end, and in the bottom there are holes that you can use to drain and rinse your rice with. It's really, really nice. Another thing that came from Milk Street. You can buy it anywhere. So what I have here are 2 cans of tuna fish in olive oil. I'm going to save the oil from this because the recipe actually calls for a 1/4 cup of olive oil. But if you like a little bit more of that briny, fishy flavor to this, save it and add it to the vinaigrette because that's what you're going to do. So we're going to start out first here in a bowl. And we're going to do this. We're going to start making the vinaigrette. Now, the vinaigrette actually asks for a couple of shallots that are finely chopped. Then you're going to add Dijon mustard and the capers to it as well too. I don't have red onions. So instead I have red onions instead of shallots. So I don't think it really matters on flavor, in all honesty. I think it's personal preference. You can go either way. I substitute between the two in recipes all the time. I just will not cook red onions because cooked red onions just don't hold up very well. So we'll do this. We'll start out by getting the base of the vinaigrette started here, which is this. We got the red onions or your shallots, which in this case I had taken a very small red onion, cut it in half, finely diced it and put it into that. The other half of the red onion I sliced up and I'm going to use on top of sandwiches. I like it that way. It's perfectly fine. So then we're going to add lemon juice. In this case, I don't have lemons, I have limes. Doesn't matter anyways. I think it comes down to personal preference of what citrus you want to use. And in this case, I'm using what I have in my kitchen. I typically keep more limes in my kitchen than I do lemons. I think it's because I drink more gin and tonics than anything else. And I also make margaritas. So you're going to keep a lime anyways. And the juice of these gets mixed with the shallots, and then I'm going to add the Dijon on top of that. Now, you can use any kind of Dijon. In this case, I'm using Dijon from H-E-B, which is finely ground. It reminds me of Grey Poupon. I also have some Dijon from the Hatch Chili Company out of New Mexico. And this is whole grain Dijon that has Hatch peppers inside of it. So it adds a little bit of a kick to it as well too. So we got that taken care of, and then I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to this. You can add more salt later on to taste, once you're done cooking. You just want to pull flavor out as it sits right now. So let's see here. You're going to do the shallot and lemon juice. Let's stand for at least 10 minutes. So there's your base. Let the two flavors meld. Now, let's get the rice started over here. So we're going to do this in a medium saucepan or medium high. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to get the water up to a boil first. I could use my kettle behind me to speed up the process. But let me grab my 2-cup measuring cup from out of here so I can get myself a quart of water. And basically what you're doing with the rice is you're just softly cooking it. You don't want it to turn out mushy or anything else along those lines. So I'll bring this out to a boil. I add some salt to this to help speed up the process. Yes, you shouldn't actually add salt to the bottom of stainless steel until the water is brought to a boil, because it'll actually pit the stainless steel. But the pitting is only temporary. It doesn't last forever. You can take a scrubby pad and it'll come out and everything else along those lines. So as that's going, we'll add in the rice, add a teaspoon of salt, bring it to a boil, and we're going to let it simmer and cook for about 15 minutes. So we'll let this get done, warmed up, start cooking the rice, and then we'll come back and we'll look at also cutting up my tomatoes. So we'll get this started while that's going on as well too. So what I'm going to do here with my tomatoes is I have 2 Roma tomatoes. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to core them and seed them. And then I'm going to dice them. Rough dice basically is what you're going to end up doing with these. And then you're going to add it in with the vinaigrette and the capers and everything else as well too. So let's get all of this all warmed up and then I'll be back. I do have to correct a little bit of a mistake that I made, or at least in measurement. So it's 4 cups of water, not 2. It's a liter if you're looking at it in that standard of measurement. So this is simmering. You bring it up to a boil and then you drop it down to medium-low. So it's a slow rolling boil, or at least a gentle simmer at this point. Yes, it looks kind of rough right now. I should probably drop it down a little bit lower. I have it at 3 and it's there. Tomatoes have been diced. Let's get to the tuna fish. So, 1/4 cup of olive oil is what it's going to ask for. So, drain this off. There's not that much into this. Not even an 1/8. Maybe a couple tablespoons, if that, coming out of this. So I will be adding and supplementing a little bit more oil to this. Let me bring the camera in here a little bit better so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'll drop this down so you can actually see the rice as it's cooking as well too. Now you're just looking at my legs. So there's my 2 cans of tuna fish. There's probably an 1/8 of a cup between the both of them, so I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil to it. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. As I say, you don't have to add tuna oil to it. It just, why let oil go to waste, in all honesty? So, add a little bit more of this. And there we go. There's the rest of our oil. So all this is cooking and simmering. There we go. It's just a little gentle simmer as it is right now. So you don't want it overly boiling because you don't want to break the grains of rice either. So while the rice cooks in a bowl with the shallot and lemon mixture, mix together oil, which is that, mustard. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of Dijon. There's 1 tablespoon. And there might be enough in here to do 2. And this container is done. We're going to mix this up. So this is our base for our vinaigrette. There we go. Now I might need to clean that spoon off because I'm going to have to add some capers to this as well too. This is going to do 1/4 cup of drained capers, rinsed and patted dry. All right, so yes, I will definitely need to do that. And I got these capers at the local Indian market that also serves as a Lebanese market in town. I think this cost me like $4 for all these capers. And I've had this for about a year now. And Josiah likes cooking with capers as well too. So I always keep a quantity on hand because I go through them so quickly. In fact, I probably go through a container of these capers once every year or so. So let's get these rinsed off and then patted dry. Now, you don't have to do this in all honesty. Some people just don't like the extra salty flavor of capers. So that's the reason why they're asking you to rinse these. So, yes, I'm off camera. You can't see me. I should get 2 cameras so you can actually see what I'm doing while I'm at the sink as well too. So I put them inside of here. Now, let's see here. What's next? Salt, pepper, already did that. Add tuna, capers, olives. Oh yeah, I gotta add the tuna. So let's do this. We'll shred the tuna up as it's coming out of the can. And if you've never, for me, it's always been a personal preference. I don't like tuna in water. There's just something about it I don't like. And as I've gotten older, I've appreciated the fact that you can get canned fish in olive oil. And you can look online, you can find all sorts of distributors of them. But Portugal actually does really good mackerel and sardines in olive oil as well too, which I really appreciate. Canned Fish Company is one that I used to buy canned fish from. but their horse mackerel that they have is absolutely awesome. So there's this, there's that. I got all this inside of here. We'll use my fork and we'll kind of just mix this all up. So here's the base for the salad right here. Your tuna, your capers, your onions, and the vinaigrette. Waiting for the rice to continue cooking. Once the rice is done, I'll drain it off and then add it to this while it's still warm and cooking. After that is done, then I'm going to add the tomatoes. I'll add the basil that I have chopped up, and that's it. So what I'm going to do now is I have this. This actually calls for, what does it call for? A quarter cup of black olives chopped. I'll measure this out. But I don't think Cordelia, my youngest, hates olives. I've never met a child in my life that doesn't like olives. Usually you put them on your fingers and you play with them when you're a kid. She doesn't do that at all. And so for myself, I always think she's missing out on something. But to each their own. I got a mix of olives here. These are calamatas and greens. And I think it's a little bit more authentic because black olives are an American invention, kind of. And they just don't have the same flavor as a good Kalamata. No, some may disagree with me on that. As I say, I use green olives in martinis. I think they're perfect that way, but everybody has their own personal preference. So, add this to it. Mix these all up. So here you go. This is what the base should look like. And I'll wait for the rice to finish, and I'll be back. I'd like to ask you. So the rice is almost done. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to drain the rice, run it under cold water, and then add it back. Okay, Google, stop timer. All right. I have this. Hey, Google, stop timer. All right. What I'm going to do is run this through the fine mesh strainer that I have. I also have my rice strainer down here in the bottom. Hey, Google, stop timer. Get all the rice out of here. Because what I want to do is I want to stop it from cooking. So, as that is going, I'm going to run this under cold water. To stop the cooking process on the rice. And it's not going to take that long. It may take a minute, maybe two, to run under cold water. And I'm running it through, as you can see, the original strainer I had, this wasn't big enough. So I'm going to run it through the colander that I have here. And the holes in the bottom of this colander are definitely big enough here. Again, let me bring the camera over here so you can actually see how I'm doing this and how this colander works. So there are holes in the bottom that are draining off. Now if I tilt it onto the side, these slots across right here also drain out as well too. So it speeds the process up and it makes it really convenient. Now the rice is done. I'm going to add it into my bowl over here. So I'll grab my spatula and gently mix all of this up with the vinaigrette and the tuna fish. I'm going to add the tomatoes, and the basil. And the basil is a half a cup of finely chopped basil. I have a mix of basil in my garden, which is Thai and Genoa. Because it's the end of the season, I'm using a bit of both. So, as you can see, the salad is done. The rice is nicely cooked and al dente. And everything is well incorporated together. This salad will probably last me a couple of days if I use it as a main. But there you go. Jacques Pepin's warm rice and tuna salad. Now, if I'm going to take a taste of this, it's going to be briny. It's going to have that vinaigrette flavor to it. It had some brightness to it because I've got the basil that's added into it, and the tomatoes add some to it. The thing that adds a lot of flavor to it, of course, is going to be the capers, because those are very briny in and of themselves. You can adjust for salt at this point. In all honesty, I wouldn't add any more salt to it. It's pretty salty as it is because of the capers that you have, but it's down to personal preference. But the basil definitely sticks out in this, the tuna fish, and the crunchiness from the onions as well too. As I say, I can't tell you the difference between using shallots or using Spanish red onions. To me, you can interchange between the two. Some people may come back to me and say, hey, shallots have a certain flavor. You're probably right. But for those of us that don't use shallots all the time, we'll keep them in the kitchen, but do have Spanish reds. The Spanish red is a good substitute. So, bon appetit and enjoy.